Hi guys, welcome to Frostfire Mage Guide. I'm going to cover some basic things about PvE Mage spec. Mage is one of the strongest endgame DPS class. Specifically, Frostfirebolt in my opinion is the best. But before you decide you want to play this spec in PvE, you have to know some basic things, tricks, pros and cons about this spec. But what does make Mage so strong? Well, answer to that question lies in your stats and spellbook. If used right, with little help if needed by Addons, you can deal massive damage and be always in top 5 DPS on every boss fight. But your count doesn't really matter that much. When you decide you want to make Mage, after giving your nickname, you have to decide what race you want to be. Well, that depends on what you want to play, PvP or PvE. If you're Alliance, both human and gnomes are pretty good for mage, humans with bonus spirit which gives you more crit, and every man for himself, awesome spell for PvP. Gnomes with increased intelligence, while Draenei has passively hit chance and useful Gift of Naru for survival abilities. If you are Horde, personally for PvE I like the most Trolls because of their Berserk ability. Undead Mage can remove fear, sleep and charm effects, and let's be fair, undead casters look the best. And Cannibalism can be perfect for easier leveling and survival in Battleground, Arena, Open World and other things. Let's not forget Blood Elves, which can regenerate mana and silence around enemies. Rotation. Always start fight with Scorch if you are only mage in the raid. If not, share some wisps with other mages and decide who will keep the debuff on. Second, cast Living Bomb for overtime damage. Third, use macro for activating Icy Veins and Combustion together, and then start spamming Frostfirebolt until your Hot Streak Procs, and then use instant Pyroblast. Keep an eye of your Living Bomb and Scorch debuff all the time. Now little hint. Never cast Living Bomb before it detonates. Let it explode and then cast it again, because if that last tick doesn't detonate, you will lose a lot of DPS. If you get Hot Streak proc when your Living Bomb has exploded, first use Living Bomb and then cast Instant Pyroblast. Now let's cover some pros and cons about this spec. Pros about Mage is high mobility and survival spells, Blink, Invisibility, Armors, Shields, Wards, Remove Curse, Ice Block, Mana Sapphire and Evocation. High AoE damage burst with Flame Strike. Or Blizzard. Strong CC 2, Sheep, Frost Nova, Counterspell for Interrupts and Spell Steal. Now cons of this spec, since you are a caster based on casting spells and not dotting, if you are forced to move, your DPS is mostly going to decrease for about 13% or even more. If you are forced to switch targets, you lose some DPS there too, for example on Morrogar spikes. Now for talents, every talent that I took in Fire Spell is the most important talent in Fire Spec. And other things that from here are useless, I took in ice spells. Now, every talent is explained by itself, so I'm not going to spend much time on telling what you have to take. You can just take these talents and copy them, and then read them by yourself. Or you can make your own Frostfire spec, which I would like to see, and comment in the section below. Now, let's cover some glyphs. I have only major glyphs because that's the most important glyph, and other 3 glyphs I didn't take because I'm broke and I don't have money. Okay, I do have a little, but still not for main glyphs. So, first glyph is Glyph of Living Bomb, which gives you critical strikes of your procs on your Living Bomb. Second is Glyph of Frostfire, which gives you 2% more critical chance and damage of your Frostfirebolt spell. And third is Glyph of Molten Armor, which converts your spirit in your critical chance effect. Now let's cover some stats. Missing spells has the highest DPS loss of all stats. That's why this is the most important stat to be capped. The PV hit cap for raid bosses is 70%. Now, On this guy, with all this gear that I have, I only have 15% hit chance. But let's not make a mistake here, this is fine. Because when you are in raid, you have buffs and things that will help you increase your hit chance, and you will be covered with more than you need. Now of course, for other stats that are like spell power, is your primary stat of course. With more spell power, you deal more damage. Spirit is being converted by Molten armor, but do not make a mistake. Healer items with Spirit don't have hit rating, and that can lead you into a trap. Critical chance is fine to have, but if you don't have enough hit rating that you are losing because of your healing item, that crit chance is useless if you are mostly like going to miss your spell. Okay, let's cover some gems now. For meta gem, without exceptions, all specs are mostly going to have this gem, which gives you 3% increased critical damage and giving you a critical strike rating. For blues one, I'm using Misty Eye of Zul, which gives you also critical strike. For yellow ones, I'm using half spell power, half critical strike rating, Potent Amantine. And most likely for the red ones, I'm using 23 spell power called Ruined Cardinal Ruby. Now, we all know that every profession has its unique pros. Mostly, for all casters, the most common professions are tailoring and enchanting. Not just because you can farm up mats and make gear yourself, but for back enchant, which when procs gives you bonus almost 300 spell power for 50 seconds. And with that usually goes enchanting, which gives you enchant on your fingers. If you already have these professions on some other tunes, of course, you're not going to take these again. There are some other useful professions that you may not have yet on your other tunes, but yet can be useful for this mage. For example, Jewelcrafting, for stronger gems, or Alchemy, for more spell power when flask is consumed, or Inscription for shoulder enchant. Now for macros, I only use one macro and one macro alone. And that one, is macro for using Icy Veins and Combustion together. Just type cast Combustion and cast Icy Veins and put them down in your action menu. And when you type F, they're mostly like going to together activate. And of course, with all these things, when you cast your spells, you're going to have more haste, and automatically you're going to have your critical strike from combustion buff. Now, when you are in the middle of a boss fight, not only you, but all your raid members are buffing you and debuffing boss, and with all those icons, it's pretty tricky to track everything down. It's a bit tricky to always keep your eyes on your hero, and where are you standing? Are you in a veiled position, or you have to spread out, or you have to avoid flame and things, plus keep an eye on your debuffs and your procs. It's pretty hard to do all at once and deal a good DPS doing all that. Now, for that, I have a little help from two addons. One of them is Power Auras. When you download an addon, type in POA, which will automatically open your menu for Power Auras. Now, you really need to do here is to just click on the new, and this is the effect editor. Now, what is really important here is just to make one thing clear. You have to stick this to check this exact name. And every time you have a buff with exact name that you have typed here, like I did on Hot Streak, if you see exact name on Hot Streak, is going to make this animation with some sound that I can edit and pretty much to customize it myself. Now, for other things like Frost Nova or Finger of Frost, you can also use power auras, but not just for mage, for any other class. You can even track down your trinket buffs, trinket procs, and everything that you can, get it in the middle of a fight and that you have to track it down while you're fighting. And also Quartz for debuff tracking. Now every time you cast a debuff on your target, you're going to have this menu little here. Now everything that's coming from you is going to be shown here, just like Ignite did right now. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you need anything or it's anything unclear to you, you can always leave a comment and ask me if you want. And as always, thanks for watching.